Well, let's hear about Salem's Lot. They're a Jersey hard rock band. They formed early in 2008 and later that year released their first EP. Their first album came out in 2009 called The Trials of 2009. Then a lot of gigging later, this young band are ready to start moving things forward in a big way. Salem's Lot are Sam Mezzak, James Andrews, Nathan Buckfield and Tom Ashcroft. The new album in 2010, gigs in London and Guernsey. BBC's Jersey introducing Ryan Morrison got them to come into the studio not very long ago to find out more.
Yeah, I'm James Andrews and I play the guitar, do a bit of vocals as well.
I'm Nathan Buckfield, I play bass.
I'm Sam Mezzak, I'm the lead singer and I do guitar as well.
I'm Tom Ashcroft and I play drums.
Okay, so Salem's Lot, tell me about your music. How would you pigeonhole your sound if you were asked to?
Rock.
Yeah, to put it really simply, rock. I mean, there's so many different types of subgenres when it comes to rock and metal, so to kind of pin one on us is quite difficult, so we just like to call it, rock/classic metal sort of stuff. Basically old school sounding, that sort of stuff.
So you don't mind having a bit of fun with the sound?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I like to think we're quite diverse. You know, we play a fairly broad-ranging stuff.
Yeah, it's always good with music to have like a diverse range of influences, because if you're just sounding your music around one thing, it's just going to be very repetitive. And while you don't want to create something that's all different, everywhere, it's cool to just take in a few different things. It's like you got one of Nathan's songs, like Decimation, and then you got like Ultimatum, which is more of a classic, and then all that sort of stuff mixed together. It's pretty cool.
So what about your personal influences, your individual influences? Let's go around again. Who was it, what band, what musician was it that inspired you to first start wanting to make and play music?
Well, for me it was, I heard I Believe in a Thing Called Love by The Darkness when that first came out, and I saw the guitar solos and the cat suits, and I thought, right, that's me. So I basically dug out a guitar and spent 8 hours a day practicing until I could play it. So that's it for me, and I think in a stage show, I think that quite shows.
What about the cat suit, though?
Yeah, I've worn a cat suit a few times, so yeah, just that general sort of
Thankfully, you've grown out of that.
Yeah, I've grown out of it, so I need to make another one.
I was about 13. My dad bought Green Day's American Idiot, and he just said, "Oh, I've heard this is quite good," so he popped it on. And one of the tom breaks in it, and as soon as the first song, 2 minutes, fast, punk, and the big tom break that Trey does, I was just hooked from that, and that's been like my album. I always listen to that every day.
Okay, we've looked at your music, we've looked at where your inspirations come from. Now, you've played a couple of the Junior Battle of the Bands gigs, you've played a lot of your sort of youth gigs in Jersey, you've recorded a couple of albums. What would you say has been your favourite gig so far as a band?
Chaos was pretty cool.
Yeah, Chaos was amazing.
Is that the one in Guernsey?
Yeah, a festival in Guernsey, which we're due to play again this year on the 25th of June, which I think I've got a feeling that one will take over as our favourite gig.
I got to say though, the gig we played last week in Tufnell Park in London was quite special, because it's nice to go over to the UK because it was part of a competition. It's nice to go over and get through the round. So
even though it was our first gig there, we did.
It's like
pretty well.
We know we're accepted, which is quite nice.
Yeah, and the reception we got was pretty.
But I mean, I've got to say, personally for me, I think the Battle of the Bands final was probably our favourite gig. I mean, there were hundreds of people there who just went absolutely crazy for us. We were walking individually. We were walking through town after, and we just had people coming up to us say, "Oh, you were robbed," So it's nice to have had that sort of impact on people. And as a crowd, they were just incredible. They just responded to everything we did.
Another
it was
one
great.
for the crowd. I think when it was November, the giggle.
December.
We had a gig.
Not
the final. It was the first one after a while.
Yeah.
And what it was is we hadn't played in a while, in a good few months, and I actually was quite nervous to see what it would be like when we played another gig. And we turned up to this gig, and it was pretty average, pretty cool. And then when we came on, it just filled up, and it was a really good feeling to have the kids going nuts for us.
And were you the band that came on, one of you was carried on to the stage?
that was me. Again, that's the sort of the Darkness, AC/DC sort of influence coming in there. I think I played, I did it twice. The first time we played one of our own songs to that. The second time I did a sort of Brian May style God Save the Queen thing. It was just a case, you get points in the competition for, being unique and being extravagant. So I thought, well, what is more extravagant than having two big lads carry a guitar player on stage at the beginning of the show?
Was there any practice involved in getting that right? Because there must have been a bit of nerves involved.
Not actually bringing me onto the stage. I practiced. I made sure I sat on their shoulders first to make sure they could carry me, and the bouncers weren't very happy, so I basically had to, give them the V's and in it anyway, you know.
What was it like going over to London to play? I mean, you've explained some of what it was like at the actual gig itself, but the whole process of going and playing in this competition and leaving the island to play for, I imagine, other than Guernsey, for the first time in the mainland.
Expensive.
Basically. I mean, I'm living in London at the moment for university. The rest of the guys are staying in Jersey. So, I mean, I kind of knew the area fairly well. I'd been a couple of times to the venue to have a look at gigs and kind of see what the atmosphere was like. But in terms of that, I think we just kind of approached it like we normally do, you know, hang out a bit before, kind of keep it cool, don't practice too much, have a bit of a laugh, and then go on and play some rock and roll, you know.
Now, with the announcement that Bar Rock and Liquid and Envy are all closing down over here, that must have been for a lot of people, especially the younger bands in Jersey, the first time they've had a chance to play in that sort of audience. What do you think about the sort of the number of venues and places there are to play for Jersey bands?
I've always found the problem has never actually been the venues. I think the problem's always been the managers. You get a lot of places like the Drift, which is an absolutely great venue, but they wouldn't be caught dead having local bands play.
It's about money, isn't it? Though?
Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of places are they're either too interested in making money, so they will just get the UK tribute bands in or cover bands, or they're not interested in making money at all, so they make it kind of too artistic, and so you end up playing to 10 people because you've got bands who play just such a I'll call it an acquired taste, but I think you know what I actually mean by that.
There's a lot of great. That's the thing with Jersey. There's so much great youth talent. It's really fantastic, you know. And it would just be nice to see a more appreciation of original music rather than cover bands.
It's like if you don't have a huge fan base and you're not popular to begin with, you can't really get anywhere.
But I mean, the great thing though, Lamott Street do a lot when it comes to like really young bands that are just starting. So I think you kind of have this, because it's obviously all like funded publicly and all that. So you kind of have this public area which is funding bands to start off. You know, they do the charity gigs and stuff, so they don't play to huge crowds or anything, but it kind of gets them ready. And when it came for us, that certainly helped a lot. Lamott Street were great when it came to giving us our first gigs.
Quite a few gigs with them.
Yeah,
loads.
Jersey
absolutely.
and Lamott Street, it's sort of been the breeding ground of Salem's Lot, obviously.
Yeah,
they gave us our leg up. They gave us our.
So the first gig that we had as our current lineup now, when I first joined, that was with Lamott Street, and that was one of the best gigs I played at.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
It's like, in the UK, a lot of bands are just launched straight into the music scene. Obviously, being in Jersey, the disadvantage is it's isolated, and you can't get your music out. But in other ways, it acts positively because you can train yourselves.
You kind of use Jersey as like an experimental sort of thing. You see how things work in Jersey, so that you can then go to mainland Britain and see how it goes there, basically, and take what you've learned. So.
And so you're preparing to start, or have already started recording a new album. This is the second one after you released the Trials of 2009.
Yeah.
How's that going? Where are you doing?
We're at the demoing phase at the moment. We've not done a huge amount. A lot of the songs are taking shape really well, I think. I think we're recording it in virtually the same way that we did the last one, but what's better this time round is we've got a few little bits of gear and knowledge is the best thing, and more time as well. The last one was actually, we recorded the whole thing in about a week and a half because we were desperate to have something to hand out at Chaos. I've spent the past couple of weeks kind of remixing bits of it now that I've got time on my hands to do it, and so the CD I've given you has remastered stuff, so that sounds better. But basically it's called the Trials of 2009, and I kind of, as Tom said before, it was a trial in itself because we've learned a lot when it comes to the equipment and producing it. So this second album, I can tell from the demos, is going to sound 10 times better than the last one.
Yeah, a lot of the songs are just so much more advanced.
Yeah,
you can see the progression between the albums.
I mean, the way I see it is the song quality, I wouldn't actually say is better than the last one, because the first one, I think the song quality was really good. The song quality for the next one is just as good, but the production quality is a lot better, and so as an album, I've got a feeling this one's going to be a lot better than the last one.
That was Ryan Morrison, my colleague here at BBC Jersey. He introduces BBC Jersey's Introducing. He was talking to Jersey's hard rock band Salem's Lot. You can find out more about the band, download their music at salemslot.co.uk. The time is 7.5 minutes to 3 o'clock. We'll head up to the news and we'll hear some of their music. Why not? I've got Ultimatum ready to play for you, but let's just